All right, what's going on YouTube? Sorry for the lateness of these videos, man. I actually did this video. I did a couple of videos yesterday that I had to throw away because sound, the microphone wasn't working. And the whole time I was recording, it wasn't until I uploaded the videos and I started listening to them that I realized that the microphone didn't work the entire time. So I wasted two videos, a lot of time yesterday, and it sucks, man. Sometimes having a YouTube channel, freaking delete videos by accident. We record videos and it's not. I've recorded videos that I thought I was recording and I never hit the record button. I've done full blogs where I'm just talking and it's not even recording. I've done that stuff before, so it sucks when you do that. But look, listen, sorry for the lateness. I know it's Monday. It's a couple of days later now. Everybody's done talking about it, but here's my thoughts on the fight. All right, Charlo against Brandon Adams. Didn't do a prediction video, but this is how I felt going into the fight. I felt like Jamal was going to stop him midway through the fight. I respect Adams. I like him as a fighter. I've seen him. I watched him. I seen him in the Contender Series, and even before that, when I seen him lose to Willie Monroe, I actually believe that I first saw Brandon fight when I was looking up old Willie Monroe Jr. fights back when I think maybe when Willie was leading up to fight Gennady Golovkin, maybe around that time, and I stumbled across a fight between him and Brandon Adams. Might have been that fight. I'm not sure if it was that one specifically, but I stumbled across that fight and I seen Willie like outbox him, totally outbox him. And then I seen a John Thompson fight where Brandon Adams got knocked out in the second round. And I'm very familiar with John Thompson too because I remember when he lost to Frank Galarza. I remember watching that fight on ESPN. That's how I started following Frank Galarza. Shout out to him, cool brother. Uh, but I'm familiar with John Thompson, another guy that Willie Monroe actually beat up too. But I seen those fights, and then I saw he went on like a 3-year layoff, came back and won the Contender Series. All right, he fought Walker. He fought Joe Mosley Jr. Solid fighters, but not guys on a level of Jermall Charlo. But I feel like he improved going into this fight. Okay, I felt like he improved as a fighter. I didn't think it was a better matchup than Selesky was for Andre. I thought Selesky was a lot more proven, being that he had a tough scrap with Daniel Jacobs. He stopped Centeno Jr. Who else did Selesky face? He beat Gabe Vazados, dropped him a couple times. He got dropped too. But going to the fight, I thought that Brandon Adams was a solid opponent, but someone that Jamal should stop. Okay. Um, and I was wrong. I was wrong. Jamal did win. He won pretty much every round to me. But I thought Brandon Adams actually gave him a good fight. I was entertained by the fight. I mean, he didn't just blow him away every round. It was some. Brandon Adams had his few moments in the fight. He came to fight. And his chin definitely held up in this fight. I thought Jamal on his end, being that he had all of the advantages, and that's why I give Brandon some credit because Brandon was disadvantaged by in so many ways. He's lost fights. He's been knocked out before. He doesn't have the height. He doesn't have the reach. He doesn't even have the size. I mean, he's a little short, stocky dude. Probably should be fighting at 154. But Jamal on his end, he did what he was supposed to do. Jamal was landing the right shots. It just couldn't hurt him. I mean, he did hurt Brandon a couple times. And I remember that one time he stumbled him with a jab, okay? I've seen Jamal drop guys and hurt guys with jabs before. Jamal does have a good jab. But he wasn't able to get Brandon out of there. Brandon was stepping in with the jab, and at points Jamal started to time him with that uppercut as Brandon was lunging in, and he was timing it. Listen, he was hitting him with the right shots that I thought he needed to hit him with. Going into the fight, and uh, you know things that I was thinking doing as I was going to do a prediction video. Jamal was doing everything right. In fact, I also thought he was doing okay with the his inside game. Because there was points where Brandon had Jamal against the ropes, and he was trying to smother Jamal, and I thought Jamal held his own on the inside, even though he's the bigger guy. I still like the punches and the times where he was able to create some space on the inside, and just the way that he was tying up and just protecting himself. I also thought he was doing well on the inside as well. I think Jermall, the only issue with Jermall in this fight, and I think the punch he needed to land in order to get a knockout, wasn't really the uppercut. I thought it was the right hand. He has a great 1-2, and he just wasn't able to land that right hand after that jab in this fight. That is where Brandon Adams did right. He had great defense in this fight, and he basically slipped that right hand all fight long. You know, Jermall just wasn't really able to get that off. He got some jabs off. He did some good work on the inside, landed some nice uppercuts, landed some nice hooks. But that right hand, that straight hand, right hand is his money punch, and he couldn't land it. I think Brandon Adams had that down pat, preparing and training in this fight. Him being a shorter guy, and it's harder to land that shot. When you're the shorter guy, and Jamal's so much taller than him. Bigger dude. Jamal looks big, man, at 160, and Brandon just looks small at 160. But Jamal, even at the weigh-in was one thing, but watching him at the fight, Jamal looks such like a big, even his legs, his upper body. He looks like a big dude at 160. But listen, all right. How do I feel about the fight overall? It was a good fight. No criticism, only because Jamal was still Jamal still went on to win just about every round. I think I might have gave Brandon one round in there, tops. He's saying, and he had some kind of injury. All right, I think with his left hand, he took off his gloves, and his left hand seemed to be bothering him. I don't know if that played any effect on why the fight wasn't stopped, but I mean, from what I saw on the ring, man, Jamal was doing everything right to me. Him and Andre had they first big homecoming fight, and they both impressed. I think Andre's performance was a little better just because of who he was facing and the fact that he shut him out too. But Jamal's performance was good as well. Um, is it gonna change how I feel about him? No, it doesn't. If you don't like Jamal, if you think he's overrated, you're not gonna be you're not gonna think anything different about him after beating Brandon Adams. But if you do like Jamal and you think he's a great fighter and you think he can beat a Canelo or a Triple G, you know, it doesn't really do anything for you neither, because it's still Brandon Adams at the end of the day, a fighter that he's supposed to beat. You know, he's supposed to beat this guy. Matt Korobov, even though he was inactive, Matt Korobov was a top middleweight at one point. You know, and that's why that fight was as competitive and close as it was in my eyes. And I think being a replacement fighter too didn't help neither. All right, but it's Brandon Adams at the end of the day, and even though I'm not trying to say Brandon Adams is still bum, Brandon Adams is not. He's much higher than Steve Rose level. You know, he's much higher than that, but he's not. He's maybe a top 20-ish middleweight, maybe. I think top 20 is fair. More on the upper side of that. But he did what he had to do. I mean, he wants the Canelo fight. He wants the Triple G fight. Triple G is not interested, and Canelo, Canelo fights who he wants to fight. I can't bash Canelo too much, because I like the people Canelo was fighting. I didn't care for Rocky Fielding. I didn't care for that fight, but Canelo did fight Triple G twice, and Canelo did fight Daniel Jacobs. You know, he did fight him. I want Jermall Charlo to fight Daniel Jacobs. If Jacobs doesn't move up to 160, I still want to see that fight. Whatever happened with that? Whatever happened with Andre? I thought it was really funny how neither Andre or Jermall Charlo called each other out. I thought that was weird. Because if Canelo goes on to face whoever, I don't know who's going to end up fighting. I mean, I don't know if it's going to be Kovalev. I don't know if it's going to be. I don't know who's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be Triple G again. I don't know if he's going to fight Callum Smith at 168. None of us know what Canelo is going to do. Canelo does what he wants to do. All right. Um, I would like Canelo to fight Andrade or Charlo. I would like those fights. But if Andrade and Charlo can't get Triple G, or if they can't get Canelo, they should be fighting each other. What's the holdup? You know, you guys had bad blood since 154. It's just, it's amazing to me that neither Charlo and Andre actually fought each other. We're all the way up to this point, you know. But for the people that don't believe that Charlo or Andre don't deserve their title shot, I think that's bullshit. All right, it's bullshit. It's bullshit at this point. You know, I'm not gonna go as far as saying Canelo is ducking Charlo, you know, or Andre. You know, I'm not gonna go as far as saying that. I think Andre would be the tougher fight for Charles. I mean, for Canelo because of his style, and he's a little awkward. Um, I think he would be a tougher fight because I think he's just more aggressive than Charlo. And I think him being a southpaw and having that long straight left that's a difficult punch. He has a difficult style. I think he may give Canelo more trouble than Charlo. I think Canelo is just too advanced as a counter puncher for Jermall Charlo. That's just my opinion. But I still want to see them fight. And that's the problem with the fans. And I read the comments of you guys, and you guys got to understand, you can have your opinion. You can have your prediction on how the fight what is going to go. It doesn't mean that they shouldn't fight. It doesn't mean that just because you think Canelo was better than Andre or he's better than Charlo, it doesn't mean that they shouldn't fight. You know? Now I understand there's a extreme side of people that think that Canelo's ducking all of these guys, all right? I mean, he just fought Daniel Jacobs, yet he's ducking Charlo and Andre, all right? But he just fought Daniel Jacobs in his last fight. And then 2 and 3 fights ago, before that, he fought Triple G twice. So it's like, I mean, this is the same guy that did fight Cotto. He did fight Lara. He fought Arislandi Lara, when he really didn't have to. Okay, he's fought guys that are legit fighters. I don't think he won them all. But just saying that he's completely ducking these guys, I don't really know about that, I don't really know about that. I'm not going to go as far as saying that. But if you guys believe that Canelo beats these fighters, then let them fight. If you think Triple G beats these fighters, let them fight. Let's see it in the ring. Let's not just do this whole, he'll beat Andre because he beat this person, this person. All right, yeah, but Triple G is like 37 years old. Okay? He's slowing down. He's not getting any better. He's slowing down. He might work on some things, defensively, working with Jonathan Banks and everything. That's cool. But is he really getting better, or is he maintaining, is he being the best version of where he can be at this stage of his career? That's what I think he's doing. Okay? I think he's trying to maintain what he can based on his certain age, his age and what he can do at this point of his career. To make sure he doesn't take a dive in his performance. All right. But I think Triple G is slowly on the downslope. I don't think he's getting any better. Whereas Canelo, I don't even think Canelo's 30 yet. All right. I think he might be turning 30 this year. I don't know if he's 28, 29. But the guy still is very, very young. All right. So, look, I want to see Canelo fight Andre, Charlo. I'm cool with those fights. I don't know if he's going to test the waters at 168 again. I don't know if he's going to go to 175. I have no idea. I don't know if he's going to fight someone coming up from 154. I don't know. I wouldn't even be surprised if Canelo fought like a Jaime Munguia. I don't know what Canelo's going to do. All right, but what I will say is that Canelo doesn't, he no longer strikes me as some ducker. I think we're past that. I don't like everything. I'll get into the WBC franchise in another video. But what I will say is Jermall Charlo, now that he won the fight, since this video is about him, now that he won, I would like to see him fight Canelo Triple G. Andrade, Daniel Jacobs. All right, those are the top four that I would like to see. If not those four, a Sergey Deverenchenko. You know, that would be cool. I think the Andrade fight was a bigger win only because at 160, Selesky is, on the deeper end of the top 10, I think. Uh, I think he's around that ballpark. Brandon Adams is more like in the top 20 ballpark. All right, so I think the Andre performance was a better win in my opinion. Not saying that Charlo might be able to beat Selesky too. I would think Charlo could beat Selesky, but I would want to see that fight. I would want to see that. All right, but Charlo, what does he do from here? I would like to see. I mean, he didn't call anybody. He seemed like he was just really happy at the end of that fight. He didn't really call people out, and that was that. But I want to see the fights, and I'm tired of just debating on based on resumes. I don't want to just debate based on resumes because not all of these fighters are getting the same opportunities that other fighters are getting. Andre has never always got the opportunities that these other fighters got when he was at 154. I think he made some mistakes. I think he made some bad, poor career decisions. But at the same time, it's not like Canelo was knocking on his door to fight him, or Floyd, or all of these other fighters that were there. Him and Lara was always back and forth. I don't know whose fault it was that some of these fights didn't get made. All I know is that us as fans, we still have to put the pressure on these fighters to make them fight and to make these demands so we can get the fights that we want. You know, we have to stop saying like, "Oh, he didn't fight no one." Well, he didn't fight no one because no one's giving him the opportunity. Selesky is his best name to date, probably just because Triple G doesn't want to fight him. He doesn't want to fight him. You know, so if Triple G is so much better, then let Triple G face him. Andre is still has a title. And he still has a better name than guys like Steve Rolls. Fight Andre or Charlo. At least you get a title out of both fights. You get a title out of both fights. But if he doesn't fight neither one of them and he keeps fighting these young, undefeated middleweights that are not so good and that's ranked like 80 on BoxRec, then what are we going to get? What is that going to do? So I'm just tired of the fans just like, yo, leave your bias out of it. Even if you don't think he's that good, whether it's Andre Charlo, we should at least at bare minimum get a fight. They're definitely both worthy of a championship fight. If they lose and they get outboxed and they get smoked, so what? So did Liam Smith. So did Rocky Fielding. So did Amir Khan. Okay, well, they still fought those guys. Steve Rolls. Like Steve Rolls, Triple G fought Steve Rolls. He just fought Steve Rolls. Okay? If Charlo fought Steve Rolls, if Andre fought Steve Rolls, how would you guys feel about that? You know? So we need to get the fights. Regardless of how we feel about who would win, we need to get these fights done. Charlo, it was a good fight for what it was. No complaints really from me as far as the performance. I wanted to get the stoppage, but the guy just had a good chin and he didn't stop him, but he outboxed him every round. So I don't see a problem in that. All right. So that's my opinion on that. Be on the lookout for more stuff. I still got to do a video on this franchise title thing with the WBC. I got to do a video on that and other videos as well. So make sure you guys subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.